Hello there. The number of students from EU countries at British universities has fallen significantly since Brexit. Government and universities are looking for new strategies now. The universities in Great Britain are feeling the consequences of Brexit. According to the industry association UCAS, around 50% fewer students from EU countries enrolled at a British university in the past 2020-2021 academic year than before the country left the European Union. Figures for the current academic year are not yet available, though. The slump was not quite as drastic as at business schools, but the numbers are falling there too, especially in the classic Master of Science courses. In the last round of applicants for the master's programs, we saw a drop in interest from the EU, says Simone Krummacher, responsible dean for master's courses at Bayes Business School, formerly Cass Business School, in London. And most competitors feel the same way. According to a survey by the Chartered Association of Business Schools, or CABS, 63% of the British business schools surveyed reported fewer students from EU countries last year. Brexit took effect on January 31st in 2020, and since then the conditions for students from the EU have deteriorated significantly. They now have to pay the same, significantly higher tuition fees as their fellow students from non-EU countries. The British no longer take part in the European Erasmus Scholarship Program, which makes it even more difficult to finance their studies. There are also additional bureaucratic hurdles when entering the country, which have a deterrent effect on many interested parties. The consequences can now be seen in the course of study. Teaching in English, which is particularly valued by many applicants, has long ceased to be a unique selling point of British universities. Numerous renowned business schools in Europe and the rest of the world now teach in English, and many programs are now also offered online, so that physical presence at the place of study is no longer absolutely necessary. Despite this, UK business schools have not lost their appeal to foreign students, at least those who are not from the EU. Their number has increased significantly since Brexit. According to the CABS study, 71% of business schools report an increase in international postgraduate enrollment from non-EU countries. At 43% of the universities, the absolute number of students from abroad has even increased significantly. More than half of the international applicants come from just 7 countries, including China, the USA, and India. In particular, the number of applicants from the United States has risen sharply, according to information from the BBC, by around 50%. One reason is that UK college fees are cheap compared to US competition. But the China and India part must worry a lot of Brexiteers. Internationally, British business schools also benefit from the good reputation of the British education system. Universities such as Oxford and Cambridge or the London School of Economics enjoy worldwide status of excellence, which has an impact on the entire education sector. According to UCAS, 77% of applicants are guided by the reputation of the respective education system when making their study decision. Experts assume that the number of applicants at British universities will increase by around 46% by 2026. Interest in studying in the UK will continue to grow at a sustained rate over the next decade, says Claire Marchant of UCAS. The government in London is now showing itself to be less stubborn than it was immediately after Brexit. Originally, international students should only be allowed to stay in the country for 2 months after graduation. Now there is a visa again that allows them to add up to 2 years to gain work experience. Another visa program has also been announced for graduates of top international universities who want to live and work in Great Britain, so several U-turns plus the one from my morning video. That would also benefit British universities, says Bill Peng, Associate Dean of the University of Exeter Business School. It would send a clear message that Great Britain continues to grow as a leading international center for science and technology. The Ludwig Maximilians University in Munich should benefit from this program. Even if Brexit has made their business more difficult, the British business schools do not want to give up the EU market under any circumstances. They assume that both the applicants and the universities will adapt to the new administrative hurdles and learn how to deal with them. According to the University of Exeter Business School, there was even an increase in applicants from the EU for its master's course. Despite everything, we are Europeans and welcome students from Europe, said economics professor Peng. And Bayes Business School is working to reverse the negative trend from 2021. We are in the process of increasingly approaching potential applicants from the EU via social media and other marketing activities, says Simone Krummacher. In order to cushion the higher tuition fees, the universities has launched an extensive scholarship program, so circumcising the government. Because the British universities cannot and do not want to rely on growth from other parts of the world to compensate for the decline in students from the EU in the long term. An important reason for the growth in applicants from Asia and the USA in recent years is the policy of the then President Donald Trump. An MBA degree in the USA seemed unattractive to many at the time, but that perception has changed since Joe Biden won the election. The answer to the question of how this is reflected in the number of applicants at British business schools is still pending. We still don't have the current numbers. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.